Did you know that this month is got some of the best astrology of the entire year? Yes, it's true. All right. Hello, everyone. This is Irlianna Samsara, and welcome back to StarSound Speaks, and happy 2024. We're going to start this year off in grand fashion. That's what the stars are saying. And so let me explain all of that. In this video, we're going to talk about all the major astrology highlights of the month. And then also I've got a remedy too for something that we're really going to be that's something very useful and practical that we can use to improve our health and to work with these wonderful developments and transits in a very powerful way. So, all right, for those of you who don't know me, my name's Irlianna. StarSoundastrology.com is my website. I practice Hellenistic astrology blended with modern, and I use whole sign houses. So having said that, let's move into 2024 January. Okay, so this, as we know, we already are out of Mercury retrograde. It's in Sag, and it's moving slowly, and it's picking up steam. And we also had, to the end of 2023, right before New Year's Eve, we had Jupiter stationing direct. So this is really an exciting month because we've got by the end of the month, all the planets, Uranus will station direct. So all the planets will be direct. And that's awesome. That's a lot of forward momentum. And that's one of the many reasons why this is such a powerful month. So I would say overall, the energy for this month, it speaks to is a lot of Capricorn emphasis. There's a lot of Saturn emphasis, and the Sun going into Aquarius and Pluto going into Aquarius, back into Aquarius. A lot of Saturn energy. So this speaks to big picture goals. We've got Mars as of today, Mars went into an exaltation in Capricorn. So that's a very, very supportive place. Mars can do really good work in the sign of Capricorn. So this speaks to really big, bold building, looking at the big picture and what do we want to achieve for the entire year and even beyond. I would say just long term. What is the kind of discipline and focus and commitment that we want to create to achieve the things that we really want to achieve? And so so that's kind of what it looks like. Okay, so Mars enters Capricorn today, January 4th, when I'm recording this. And it definitely speaks to that exalted big picture goals. I think about somebody like Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga has Mars natally in Capricorn. And you think about her and how she moves in the world. She's obviously got staying power. She first got famous, what was it, 2006, and here it is 18 years later, she's still going strong. And the fact that she collaborated with people like Tony Bennett, these giants, talk about Capricornian, people that stand the test of time, and how she collaborated with him with songs for a good long time. And so she, that way of getting in with the people at the very top and making our way in the world and having our goals focused and fused with long-lasting achievement. And so we can channel that inner Lady Gaga for ourselves this month. All right, so Jupiter is now direct, and so there's earthy practical wealth building, right? We've had time since the September when it went retrograde to think and rethink what is it that stands in the way of our wealth and our wealth building. And so now that it's direct, we can go ahead, charge forward. We have newfound insights and enthusiasm and confidence and hope. So it really speaks in the sign of Taurus is earthy practical wealth building. Once it gets into Gemini later in the year, it's more diffused. So if you're going to build a business or establish some really firm ideas around wealth and practical things too, maybe even growing a garden and creating food that you've never grown before, or things in that nature, this is certainly a really good time for that. But just think earthy, think our wealth being from the earth, our wealth being from practical, efficient, resilient methods that stand the test of time. All right, so Mercury is now direct, moving on. Mars is in Capricorn. And so Mercury and Mars, both morning stars, so heralds of a new day, bring it, right? Bring these big, bold, outrageous ideas. Bring that big picture and make and set down a plan, a strategy and a plan, a business plan, whatever you want to call it. Get organized. Get organized in your home. Get organized in your office, in your career. Ooh, I'm hearing a tone. Isn't that cool? Yeah, so that's the universe going, yeah. I know, me too, me too. I'm working on it. But yes, exalted big picture goals. Very important to think big and think bold. Now remember, Mars is still out of bounds. It started at the end of December, and it's not going to leave until January 23rd, out of bounds. So when it's out of bounds, it's extra strong with boldness and ferocity, right? And it's in its exaltation, so it can accomplish a lot, and we can be braver than we normally are, and we can take on bigger responsibilities, or we think we can. We're more inclined to do that. Now, of course, it can backfire. You want to make sure you're not like overstepping bounds, which can happen when Mars is out of bounds, right? Literally, right? But with the fact that it's a very potent combination, exalted in Capricorn, reaching for and those goals and that drive to make things happen of lasting value. All right, so then we have next Thursday, January 11th, we have our first new moon of the year, new moon in Capricorn, 20 degrees, 44 minutes. And I'll be breaking that down as we get closer to that. The 13th of Saturday, the 13th of January, mid-month, we've got Mercury entering back in Capricorn, right? It's completing its retrograde cycle where it started in Capricorn, went back into Sagittarius, moving forward again. Also rising with the sun, right? Herald of a new day. Think about these big, business plans. If you are ready to launch a business, if you are ready to take that business to the next level, this is the month to make that happen, to plan it, bring it, plan it, Saturn energy, Capricorn. It's like, let's get real. Let's ground this with a business plan. Yeah, okay. Thursday, January 18th, Mars will finally rise out of the beams of the sun. So it'll have it's phasis, heliacal rising. So that means it can be seen in the sky. So the things that had been concealed to us, our ambitions and all, are now seen out in the world, right? The things that we've been working on and baking and the commitments that we made and that were available to us when Mars was cazimi with the sun. Remember that last month, cazimi 0 degrees. It was a very critical time. It's like taking up the mantle of responsibility and thinking maturely and acting strongly and maturely with an eye for the big picture, with an eye for what will be of lasting value. Now that it's out in the heavens, out from under the beams on the 18th of January, it's going to, all that work, hard work, and the commitments that we've made maybe on the inner planes that we haven't shown anybody are now going to be out there seen. Mars ends its out of bound, right? It'll be out of bounds and rising on the 18th, but by January 23rd, Mars will be out of its bounds, back in its normal place, right? Still exalted in Capricorn, but it will be so we're still moving and hobnobbing with important people, CEOs, politicians, celebrities, right? All that Capricornian stuff, people of note, we being of note, but Mars will end its out of bound status on the 23rd. It'll be back in its normal path along the ecliptic. Aquarius season begins January 20th. And this is going to be really powerful because not only do we have all these planets we'll have Mercury, Venus, Mars, all the personal planets, right? And the sun and Pluto, all in Saturn ruled signs. And so by Saturday, January 20th, the sun and Pluto will be conjunct at 29 degrees on that day or a little earlier. Very powerful timing, shining. Think of the sun, the vitality of the sun shining a light on Pluto. What is it that needs to change and transform so we can have a sustainable society, so we can have structures of reality that support us for the long haul? And so the energy of Saturn and Sun and Pluto could also look at power struggles, highlighting power dynamics as well. And then they both go into Aquarius. So January 20th, which is exactly a year away from the presidential inauguration, right? Can you believe that? It's going to be a year from now. It just seems like yesterday we just had this last election. And here we are 4 years later. So that is a very powerful window. We want to really look carefully because, of course, Pluto is back in Aquarius where it had retrograded. It went retrograde and went back into Capricorn in the fall, just now coming back around, hitting that critical 0 degree Aquarius mark, and that will be January 20th. Why is this so important? Well, obviously, it's a 20-year transit. It's going to briefly it'll be in Aquarius until around September 1st, and then it'll briefly dip back for like 2 months into Capricorn one last time in our lifetime. And so that is, of course, a very, very critical point. What's going to happen? Well, we're going to see in that certainly very powerful when the sun shines its light on it for that Saturday, January 20th, but Pluto will be at 0 degrees for another month. So from January 20th to February 21st, roughly, adjust for your time zone, Pluto will be at 0, that critical degree. And that's like the entire potential of what can unfold with AI, with intelligences and systems of reality that are outside our own reality. So this is a very huge, huge game-changing time in history, if for no other reason than just Pluto going into the sign of Aquarius. As we all know by now, Pluto was last in the sign of Aquarius when we had the American and French revolutions and the Industrial Revolution. So all of that happening at that time, huge paradigm shift in the balance of power, power to the people. Aquarius rules democracy. So we're looking at what does it take? What's it going to take for us to all live in harmony together? I was on with Erin's New Year's Day, delightful New Year's Day celebration. And I was saying to the people on that Zoom call that E pluribus unum is the US motto, right? It appears on currency. And it's Latin for out of many, one. And so that is a very, very Pluto in Aquarius archetype. It was adopted as the US motto when Pluto was in Aquarius, 8 degrees to be precise, but we'll take it. So how do we all get along and honor and respect each other even though we are different? And the idea and the notion of not creating unity by being a herd state, by giving up our individuality, by being clones, that's not going to work. We're gonna find out, right? So what will it take? And so this month from January 20th to February 21st, the full potential of what can occur over 20 years will be very revealing between AI, between alternative, even like communicating with whales or dolphins or birds, there's all this amazing scientific research coming out now about how these, different species and communication, and that the fact that we are not the only reality. Certainly ETs and aliens and all that conversation also enters into it, other worlds that are outside of our own, literally off the earth. So definitely watch carefully there. That's one of the many power dates. And I'm going to do a separate podcast on juicy power dates that are coming up in 2024. So just, watch for that. Okay, Tuesday, January 23rd, Venus enters Capricorn, and so she's joining the fray along with Mars and Mercury, and so there's a big old Capricorn party. The Venus is our intimate relationships and our partnerships and how we socialize and connect with others, and so it's going to have that more of a focus on, again, long-term, big picture, being strategic with who we hang with who we make friends with. Think with a sense of maturity and patience and discipline and focus on to, is this relationship, can this stand the test of time? Are our relationships really where we want to be? It's time to take account and an integrity check. So Venus in Capricorn is going to help us with that opportunity. Okay, then on the 25th of Thursday, the 25th, the full moon is going to be in Leo, and that's at 5 degrees. That will interesting for the United States because the north node of the USA is 6 degrees of Leo, south node 6 degrees of Aquarius. So the sun will be conjunct the south node of the USA node, and the full moon will be on the north node. So that will definitely be a very telling time right here. Obviously, we know it's very politically charged, this atmosphere. The full moon in Leo, again, we'll be getting into that more in depth, but just to give this heads up, of course, Leo can be, it's very there's a lot of emotions around our emotions, our heart, our loyalty. What and who are we loyal to? And our divine purpose as Americans, the North Node in Leo is to embrace our divinity, if you want to really take it to that really high level, and the notion of the individual, right? And as it plays out against the individual, but being unified with others, but not losing our individuality. So that should very much come up very strongly by that full moon in Leo. And then we finish the month by Uranus finally going direct in Taurus. So we'll have all the planets direct. And Uranus stationing direct, it came to the stationary direct point 19 degrees back in December. It's very slow moving. So about middle of December, it reached that point. And so whenever it slows down and makes that turn, there's usually a lot of tumult. Now, we saw that with the Japan earthquake, for example, massive earthquake. And so there is this, so we could expect to see more earth changes when it makes that U-turn. But here's the thing, on a personal level, yes, it's certainly going to be, it's an exciting time. Remember, Jupiter is now direct in Taurus, and it's starting its slow march to move up to and conjoin Uranus at 21 degrees of Taurus on April 20th. So from now through then, it's getting closer and closer, and we'll definitely feel that by March. Certainly by the time the first eclipse, the lunar eclipse happens, March 25th, certainly very prominent, hugely prominent as part of the solar eclipse, the full total solar eclipse in April and such. But I wanted to point this out because this is an opportunity for us to release stored trauma. And so my recommendation is, and I've been looking on YouTube, you can certainly find thousands of videos on this, but if you just YouTube the term vagus nerve, I don't mean Vegas like what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. No, not that Vegas. The VAGUS, the vagus nerve goes from the stem of the brain down through the entire body. And this is about resetting the vagus nerve, and it can release stored trauma. And I'm talking about trauma that can be from childhood, even intergenerational trauma. So this is a huge opportunity, especially when Uranus stations retrograde and stations direct. There's this great time to embrace and acknowledge that wherever we have had stored trauma, wherever we've been stuck in the past, Uranus, which is always future oriented, will break the chains of the past, will break where we've had stagnation, where we haven't been willing to change, where we've been stubborn, right? Taurus can be very stubborn. Tauruses, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, the stationing direct is going to give us a great opportunity to I think those conversations around trauma and things are really going to come up strong, as they usually do. So I would say doing whatever kind of, and there's many different techniques, body somatic techniques that can release stored trauma. And so I just invite everybody to take that on. And even if you think you have none, I think we all do, but it's just a matter of where, how conscious we are of it. But anyway, yeah, great stuff. One thing that helped me was just where you hold the edge of the ear and you pinch and hold it for like 30 seconds and maybe stop, and then you do the other one. And then you give it like another 30 seconds of not holding. But I know when I did that last week, when my jaw was really, really hurting, I had like this TMJ, boom, immediately took it out. So Taurus is related to the throat and the voice. So this could also address things about where have we been afraid to speak? Where have we been cut off? Where have we alienated ourselves from others because our values, Taurus, right? Our values and what was important to us was different from other people's values. Where have we cut ourselves off from others, and where have others cut ourselves off from them, right? Friendships and such, and intimate relations with Venus ruled, right? It's about the people we love and the people we're close to and the people we collaborate with. So this is a wonderful opportunity, and that will be ending, that will occur for us toward the end of the month when Venus stations direct. But hey, you don't have to wait for that. You can start releasing now. And then when that happens, when Uranus finally goes direct, who knows? There could be another level of opportunity and realization that are available to us. Certainly with the nervous system, right? Think about it. Uranus ruling the Kundalini light body and the electrical system of the body. So there could be some really great realizations and freedom that's available to us out of this. So I think that's about all I wanted to say today. I hope you've enjoyed this, and do like, share, subscribe if you enjoy this information. And we're always so grateful. We love hearing from everybody. And also, if you need a session, let's plan. Let's get a powerful vision for you together for what is your truth. What are you here to do this year, and how can I help you realize that? I can help you spell it out in sessions. So just give me a holler, starsoundastrology.com, and we'll get that all set for you. Okay, take care, everybody, and I'll see you soon. This is Irlianna Samsara, StarSound Speaks, starsoundastrology.com. Thank you for listening. Namaste.